Come with me, Melissa Woods, as I transform this boring bedroom into this incredible baby nursery for some of my best friends expecting their first child. While I show off the room I'll be working on, I want to give a bit of backstory. Dan and Chelsea are my husband and I's closest friends. Dan is Steven's best friend from high school, and when he began dating Chelsea, her and I became very close. This is a picture of us at their wedding. Steven was best man and I was a bridesmaid. They've been married almost 4 years and are expecting a baby girl. I couldn't think of a better gift to give them than the nursery of Chelsea's dreams. They live 80 miles from us, so I spent 5 hours packing my car with tools and everything I needed to stay with them and complete the work. I'm trying to transform this whole space in only 1 week, so some of the building I did ahead of time. You can see here I am assembling 1x2s that I cut and primed into a thin display shelf for one of the walls. I'll plan to put picture books on here so you can see the front covers. For the back, I glued and nailed on 1/2-inch plywood. I also projected baby's name on a piece of 1/2-inch plywood to trace for a name cutout. I was the only person who knew baby's name before she was born, just so that I could make this. I spent 4 hours carefully cutting this thin, loopy text out with my jigsaw and a scrolling blade. I know I could have bought a name cutout off Etsy, but it's impossible to order one this large, and it means more that I made it myself. When the cutting was finally done, I sanded each letter and then spray painted the name. So that's all for the work I completed ahead of time. Now I'm on to demolition in the room. Day 1, I ran into a problem almost immediately when I discovered the person who installed the chair rail had used construction adhesive. This meant removing the trim work ripped the wall's paper, and I was going to have lots of annoying drywall repair to complete. Never use glue, guys. Nails are enough. I'm also going to scrape the popcorn ceiling texture off, so I removed the light fixture and covered the carpet with plastic. Scraping a textured ceiling is actually quite easy and super satisfying. This one had never been painted, so it scraped off without issues. All I did was spray it with hot water and let it sit for 5 minutes. Then I sprayed it again until it was very damp and began to scrape. I'm wearing a respirator as a precaution, but you should always test for asbestos to make sure you're safe to remove a popcorn ceiling. After the mess was cleaned up, I had to wipe down the ceiling and walls from dust. Then I rolled primer on the exposed raw drywall on the ceiling. If I were to just paint the drywall at this point without priming it, it wouldn't adhere well and it might have issues. While I waited for my primer to dry, I applied the first coat of all-purpose joint compound to my drywall damage from the trim adhesive. Then, before I went to bed, I rolled a coat of white paint on the ceiling and upper third of the wall, applied a second coat of joint compound, and that was the end of day 1. One thing most people don't think to buy for their nursery but is essential is a humidifier. It's one of the only ways to help baby when they're sick and prevent uncomfortable dryness for the skin, hair, nose, and throat. Drio is sponsoring this video. Their little humidifier is powerful and is loaded with features. It has a wide 4-inch mist outlet, so the mist comes out denser than most humidifiers at 2.4 megahertz and up to 40 inches high, providing instant dryness relief. It can cover spaces as large as 500 square feet, and the tank holds enough water for up to 60 hours of continuous operation. It's perfect for bedrooms and sleeping because the ambient light can double as a nightlight, but can also easily be turned off. It's whisper quiet at 28 decibels, so you can't really hear it. It's also safe to have in your little kids' room because the machine doesn't get hot and the mist is safe to touch. The light changes between 3 colors: yellow when the room is low humidity, green when it's between 31 and 60%, and then blue when the room is above 61% humidity. If you're into aromatherapy, the Drio humidifier has little pads to add your essential oils that have a special tray in the back to diffuse throughout your home. You can also set the humidifier on a timer and connect it to smart devices like Alexa or Google Home. As we head into the season of colds, protect your family and keep them healthier with a humidifier. Drio thought of everything someone would want in a humidifier, and everyone should have one. Get this small, portable, and powerful machine by clicking the link in the description now. Day 2 started with sanding the joint compound that had dried overnight and priming over that to prevent flashing. Next up, we get to start the wall treatment, board and batten. Chelsea and I had looked at lots of Pinterest inspiration planning this design together, and she loved the modern style of board and batten. I'm doing a faux treatment where the battens are just nailed on the wall, no boards required. Most of the inspiration photos had this wall treatment as one wall behind the crib, but I'm going big and doing the whole room. This complicates things a bit where the spacing wasn't exactly the same as I turned a corner, but I did my best to plan accordingly. I used an online board and batten calculator to cut a spacer, which made things a lot quicker and accounted for obstacles like windows and electrical outlets. Installing this wall treatment took the better part of day 2, but I want to go in more depth about it and share lots of tips and tricks in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss it. Before I went to bed on day 2, I smeared wood filler in my face seams so it could dry overnight. In the morning of day 3, I sanded the wood filler and began caulking. My goal for day 3 was to get the paint on the wall treatment, but I was amazed how long caulking took. 3 hours and 2.5 tubes later, I finished and was so annoyed. I ran out of caulk and had to go to Home Depot to get more, which set me back this day. So the only other thing I got done was installing the new light fixture. I love this woven fixture that casts a beautiful shadow on the ceiling. It was super affordable and is linked in my video description if you're interested. The entire day 4 I spent painting, and somehow this was the only clip that I got of it. I think working long hours and eating copious amounts of ice cream with my friends was starting to get me out of focus. This calming color is called Pigeon Gray by Dunn Edwards, and I love that it's neutral enough to transition with this room into whatever it might become. It doesn't scream nursery. Day 5 was all about install and final touch-ups. I patched imperfections that shone through the first coat of paint and then sanded, primed, and painted those. I added cute peg hooks to the top rail of my board and batten design. I rolled a quick coat of fresh white paint on the entry door, window trim, and closet doors, and then I also swapped out the closet door knobs for cuter ones. I installed my favorite go-to curtain rod and hung heavy blackout curtains in a pretty sage color. Dan helped me with taping fairy lights to the name cutout so it would be backlit. I added a couple little blocks of wood the same thickness as the wall treatment's battens to support the name hovering off the wall. I also stuck pieces of carpet tape to those blocks, thinking it might be strong enough to hold up the name, but it definitely wasn't. I ended up using short brad nails to attach the name and was careful not to wreck the fairy lights. Now it was just the final touches, and the room was ready for Chelsea to see. Oh, I forgot to mention, I made it a surprise. I let her see the space right after demolition with the ceiling, exposed drywall, and the wall torn up from the chair rail removal. She didn't peek the whole week, so this was her raw reaction.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This looks amazing. What? This is beautiful. Oh my God, Melissa. Oh my God. Look at the name and the clothes and the bookshelf. Oh my gosh. This is so much better than I even pictured in my brain ever. Oh my gosh, thank you. How did you transform this crappy room to this?
A lot of filler.
Oh my God.
A lot of wood filler, a lot.
Holy moly. I'm shaking. This is so pretty.
Honey, I would not have been
Look
able
at
to
the
do that.
curtains. Yeah, no.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's why I
Oh
called
my
in an expert.
Oh my
Thank you.
God.
Wow, this is so amazing.
So pretty. This wall. Oh my
Isn't it
gosh.
pretty?
Oh my gosh. I'm just speechless. How did you do the lights?
DP did that.
What?
He taped that all. It took him forever.
No way.
Yes, he did all the fairy lights. He taped it all and then ran it back.
What?
And then it took us a while to figure out how to attach it onto the wall, but it looks really good.
Oh my gosh. I just can't get over like the walls, honestly, Missy. Like the walls look incredible. Like the two-tone colors too, like complement each other so nicely.
Feel soft this rug is.
So pretty.
I mixed the white myself, but the taupe color is the one I did in the lake house bathroom. And I just loved it.
Wow.
I loved it so much. I was like, I've got to do this for her
Oh my
nursery.
gosh, it's so pretty.
This room was truly a labor of love. I love using my growing skill set to show appreciation and support for the ones in my life that mean the most. I know Chelsea is really glad to have this calming, comfortable, and curated space to bring her first baby home to. I touched every inch of this room from ceiling to floor. Some of it I didn't capture on video, like swapping the fluorescent closet light for a softer, more energy efficient one, or cutting off the bottom of the room's entry door so it stopped dragging on the carpet. I tried to think of every single thing I would want upgraded to create the perfect nursery. The thin bookshelf I made hangs perfectly next to the crib, and the rocking chair is positioned to read with natural light next to the window. The dresser will be used as a changing table. They just need to buy a pad for the top. And I'm super pleased with how special the name cutout looks and that I got the lights behind to twinkle. It's magical at night. The rug is super soft and also really affordable, perfect for covering up the stained carpet that they weren't ready to replace. I'll try to link everything in this room down below so you can shop if you see something you like. I hope you enjoyed this room transformation and it inspired you to give of your home improvement talents to those you love. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Welcome to the Woods.